The envelope arrives on a Tuesday. No return address. Your name typed in a font that looks like it belongs to a government building from 1987. Inside, a single instruction. Report to room 14C. Do not discuss this with anyone. You don't tell anyone. That's already the first test, and you've already passed it without knowing there was one. Room 14C is a beige conference room in a building that doesn't appear on any public directory. 3 people sit across from you. They don't introduce themselves. They already know everything about you. Your college thesis, your ex-girlfriend's name, the parking ticket you paid 3 days late in 2019. They ask you questions they already know the answers to. You understand, on some level, that this isn't an interview. It's an audit. You sign 17 documents. One of them makes you legally responsible for maintaining silence about the existence of the documents themselves. You sign it anyway. You're cleared for special activities, the division with no public budget line, no congressional testimony, no Wikipedia page that stays accurate for more than 72 hours. You're 26 years old. You think you understand the weight of what you've just done. You don't.
Level 2. The instrument. Your first 18 months are administrative. You file reports, you translate intercepts. You sit in rooms where decisions are made and say nothing, because no one has asked you to speak yet. You make $67,000 a year. You live alone. You tell your family you work in federal consulting. They believe you because you've always been a good liar. You didn't know that about yourself until now. Your handler is a woman named Diane. She gives feedback with the warmth of a building inspection report. You learn more from her silences than from anything she says. When she nods once after reading your analysis, you feel something close to pride. You're embarrassed by how much it matters. By month 16, you've been moved to operational support. You don't carry a weapon. You don't travel. But you know which assets are active in 4 countries, and you know what happens to them if their cover breaks. You tell yourself you're just the infrastructure. You're not responsible for outcomes. That rationalization will serve you for exactly 2 more years.
Level 3. First contact.
Your first field assignment lasts 11 days. Bucharest. You're not the lead. You're there to confirm a location and pass a single piece of information to a contact you'll never see again. The contact is a 53-year-old Romanian economist named Pavel. He shakes your hand too long. He has a daughter in university. He tells you her name. You don't ask why he's telling you this. Later, you understand. He wanted someone to know he had a daughter, in case. You complete the assignment. You fly home. You write a clean report. You don't include the part about the daughter. 3 months later, Pavel's name appears in a debrief summary as a closed asset. You don't ask what closed means in this context. You've already figured it out. You sleep fine that night. That bothers you more than anything else.
Level 4. The operator. By year 4, you move without thinking. Cover identity, pocket litter, behavioral baseline, it's reflex now. You've been to 11 countries under 4 different names. You have an apartment in Vienna that you've never slept in, but that has a full closet and a functional utility history. You report to a man named Garrett. He's been in the division for 22 years, and his eyes look like he's always doing a calculation you can't see. You run 2 assets simultaneously. You know their families, their debts, their ambitions, their fears. You know exactly how much pressure each of them can take before they break, and you know how to apply it precisely enough that they never actually break. That's the skill. That's what separates the operators from everyone else. You're good at it. That's not something you're proud of. It's just a fact, the way being tall is a fact. You've stopped talking about your work in therapy. Not because it's classified, though it is. Because you don't know how to explain that none of it bothers you the way it should, and you're not sure if that's psychological damage or psychological evolution.
Level 5. The architect.
You design operations now. You don't run them. You build the architecture, and other people live inside it. You have a team of 9. You know each of them completely, and none of them know you at all. That asymmetry is intentional. It is, in fact, the point. An operation in Tbilisi runs for 14 months under your design. It generates intelligence that changes the outcome of a bilateral negotiation you will never be credited with influencing. 3 people in the world know your role. One of them is the President of the United States, and they know your code name only. Your code name is HARROW. You find that you no longer think about yourself by your real name first. It surfaces slowly, like a word in a language you used to speak fluently. Your brother calls on your birthday. He tells you about his kids, his mortgage, a vacation they're planning to Portugal. You listen with complete attention and genuine warmth. You are also, simultaneously, running a probability model in your head about an asset extraction scheduled for the following Thursday. You don't notice you're doing both at the same time.
Level 6. The authority.
There are 31 people in the division. You now have oversight of 11 of them. You sit in rooms where things are decided that will appear in history books 20 years from now, attributed to other causes. You have learned to have no ego about this. Ego is a liability. Ego needs to be fed, and feeding it requires witnesses, and witnesses are the one thing you cannot have. A senator on the Intelligence Committee asks questions about special activities budget allocations. You provide testimony that is technically accurate and completely misleading. You are calm during the entire 2 hours. You are also, under the table, pressing your thumbnail into your palm hard enough to leave a mark, because this is the last physical sensation that still keeps you anchored to the moment. You make $214,000 a year. You live in a house in Northern Virginia. You have no close friends. You have colleagues, assets, and people who owe you something. Those categories cover everyone in your life. You went to a wedding last year. Your cousin. You watched people crying during the vows, and you tried to remember the last time you felt something that moved through you without being filtered first. You couldn't.
Level 7. The Ghost. There are 9 people alive who know your actual name and current role. 7 of them work for the United States government. 1 is your mother. 1 you have not identified, which keeps you up at night approximately 3 times per year. You have 2 contingency plans for your own disappearance. 1 is authorized, 1 is not. Operations that carry your authorship no longer carry your name. They carry reference numbers. The reference numbers live in a server whose physical location you have deliberately never confirmed, because knowing would make you a target, and you have survived this long by being invisible at precisely the moments when visibility would be lethal. You are 51 years old. You look 60. You feel nothing about this. A junior analyst named Torres presents a threat assessment in a morning briefing. The assessment is wrong in one specific way that will not be visible until it's too late. You correct it with 2 sentences. Torres thanks you. You forget Torres's face before you've left the room. This is not cruelty. It is function. You have become, over 25 years, almost entirely functional. Almost.
Level 8. The architecture itself.
You don't attend meetings anymore. The meetings adjust to you. There is no official title for what you are. The people who know about you describe your role in different ways, depending on their clearance level and their willingness to say the thing directly. You are a resource, a reference point, a decision that was made so long ago that no one alive remembers authorizing it. You have influenced the political stability of 7 countries, directly. The downstream effects, if anyone were ever allowed to map them honestly, would encompass things too large to name without sounding delusional. You are not proud of this. You're not ashamed of it either. You sit in a room with no windows, and you read a summary of an emerging threat in the Caucasus, and you make a recommendation that will be implemented before anyone formally agrees to implement it, because that is how things work now. That is what you have become, a threshold that the system crosses before it realizes it has crossed. You think sometimes about Pavel, the Romanian economist, his daughter's name.
You remember it precisely. You think about the 26-year-old who signed 17 documents in a beige room and thought he understood the weight of it. You don't feel grief exactly. You feel something adjacent to it, something that has no name, because the language for it hasn't been invented yet.
Somewhere, a new analyst is sitting in a beige conference room. 3 people across the table, no introductions. An envelope on a Tuesday. He's been selected because he's careful, intelligent, and morally flexible in exactly the way they need. He thinks this is the beginning of a career. He doesn't know it's the beginning of an erasure. But he will. He's already signed the first document.